Stalker is pretty much one of my favorite shows right now on CBS, even next to Blue Bloods and NCIS Los Angeles. No offense. Today I'm doing a podcast devoted to that show and see how I feel about it thus far. Greetings, Anthony Mars Jr. on PR Lost Galaxy 2014 with a new edition of the brand newly renowned PR Lost Galaxy 2014 video podcast, renowned as now the Terra Venture Podcast, bringing you podcast episode 126, presented by my self-devoted fan page on Facebook and so on. And today, I'm going to discuss one of my top favorite shows of the 2014-2015 television season, Stalker, on CBS, which comes on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. You know, at first I was really skeptical that CBS would do a drama, a procedural police drama about stalkers who are and the victims behind the stalkers and all, but I've seen this scenario many times already. I mean, we had this concept on a couple of CBS dramas and whatnot. I can think of from what other dramas on other networks other than CBS I can think of from the top of my head. Because CBS is good for that stuff when it comes to coming up with TV dramas where you have, you know, sometimes one episode per season of another CBS drama. I can easily think of from the top of my head, like let's say Criminal Minds, which is also on Wednesday nights on CBS. And every time when I think about some episodes of Criminal Minds, they've always had episodes where you had stalkers and victims, and especially the stalkers always being the men who were rejected from the women that were in relationships or were married at some point, and or just been estranged, and you know how things go out. Every time when you see, possibly when you see that person go after that person that rejected that person, saying person over and over is pretty much annoying. Seems like you guys are probably not getting the gist of that point there. And every time when I think about shows like that with stalkers, that's what influenced me to see this show. Because to be honest, though, the reason why I started to watch Stalker is because the show did remind me pretty much of what my story was like when I was, you know, somewhat accused for stalking when really I actually did stalk someone. But yet nobody has ever pressed the charges on me or filed a restraining order against the person, because I knew then and there I was doing something to, like I said, harassing that person and making that person feel guilty inside his or herself. But unfortunately, it's actually me in dealing with girls and women. I know I've already been considered, you know, a stalker, you know, for between two female individuals twice in reality. But that's where Stalker came in so many years later in terms of me discussing television shows other than you know what, and then me talking about what caused me to even want to tune into the show, and what if the show even convinces me to watch it for further episodes following the pilot, aka series premiere, and just like see where I can come out of it. Stalker is it's a show about victims of stalking and the detectives of the LAPD's Threat Assessment Unit, known as the LAU, I suppose, yeah, who investigate the crimes. And though the show premiered on October 1st, 2014, and it airs, like I said, Wednesdays on CBS as part of the current 2014-2015 television season. Though this podcast, following my discussion on the show and what my thoughts about it was, if you may know, and also by the way, this podcast was pre-recorded on December 30th, 2014. one more day until 2014 was actually over. So I'm releasing it ahead of time before I can actually release this podcast. And, you know, in terms of, you know, in time for me to take some time to edit the audio discussion on the show and whatnot and the subject. And you know, the more episodes I've seen of Stalker, I've only watched the show for about six episodes. But by around episode 7, which is the fanatic episode, I somewhat took a break from Stalker because, well, the holiday season was coming in, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot. And around the episode Love is a Battlefield, which aired around Halloween week of last year, I had to take a break from the show. I would let my DVR record episodes I didn't even see because, you know, around November something when the Fanatic episode with, you know, that featured actress Annalyn McCord in it. And when that episode aired and onwards up until the mid-season finale that aired in December, Tell All, I had to take a long break from these episodes because, well, you know, when the holiday season is in, I shouldn't be watching something that is dark and grim and depressing when knowing that Christmas and, if you're Jewish, Hanukkah and such is a happy, delightful time of year, you know, getting with the family and all that, because, you know, I can't be like watching something dark and grim during the holiday season. If I was watching a horror movie during the Christmas season, I would ought to be ashamed of myself with knowing that, you know, that's something I should watch after the holidays is over and after New Year's, and then everything's back to normal, same old bullshit. But, you know, Stalker is a really convincing show. And one of the best shows I have seen thus far, you know, this current season, because, you know, by the time May sweeps happen and every single show that, because every TV show ends around, you know, with their respective seasons end around May, except for shows that have a final season happening, they would have, like, you know, TV shows that have final seasons always have lesser episodes, so we get that. But, and also, like, all the time when there are new shows to try out, new shows would always start out pretty small. If the show doesn't, and the debate is that the show doesn't fare well with audiences or ratings, it gets canceled. If the show does fare well with audiences and is impressed with TV critics and such and gets higher ratings, it gets renewed for another season and onwards. And Stalker, I didn't think the show was, you know, at first, well, before the show even premiered on October 1st, 2014, because CBS was, to be honest, this past TV season, CBS was, you know, during the 2014-2015 TV season currently, to start off the new TV season, they were all about Thursday night football, because football season, you know, is always been a traditional thing, and I do watch football, and, you know, my favorite, you know, football team is the Washington Redskins, and you know, see the Redskins play and how things have been going for the worst, and you know, it's just, well, the reason why CBS has to delay returning shows with new seasons, except for the final season of that dreadful ass 2.5 Men, they had to, like, delay those shows with new episodes around and new seasons around late October, around Halloween, especially for the comedies and, except for new shows that started around that time. And again, when I was watching the first 6 episodes of Stalker, I thought the show was going to be a flop. And as soon as when I saw the critical reception from TV critics around, you know, on print, screen, and on the internet, talking about how bad the show is and how misogynistic the show can be when it comes to, you know, predatory male stalkers going after fragile, victimized women. Because that's the thing. If you have been watching the show, if you guys do watch CBS Wednesday nights, can you, any of you sitting here that I don't know, that you'll probably run up to me in a moment, at a certain moment's notice. How many of you, when it's 10 o'clock Wednesday nights when this show is on, or any other show on anything on TV, what do you guys do on Wednesday nights around that time when Stalker is on CBS or any other show? Again, do you guys go out? Do you guys what? Stay in the house? Doing what? Who's what's what? I'm not, no offense to be talking about someone's privacy, but I was just asking because I bet I'm just probably asking for those that do watch the show or probably don't, and probably those that don't watch the show. So I'm just saying. But you see, again, when I first heard of the show, yes, Maggie Q, who was previously, after a couple of years since the CW shafted their fourth and short final season of Nikita, Maggie Q was under the rocks for a couple of, for at least, I think, 2 years, because I can't recall, because I have not watched, until when the CW canned Nikita on Friday nights, because everyone on Friday nights often watch Friday Night SmackDown for those that are fans of the WWE on Friday nights, or even watch Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck, Donnie Wahlberg, and others, Bridget Monahan on Friday nights, and Hawaii Five-0 on CBS as well, and some other stuff you can watch that anyone watches on TV at the time. And as soon as when I heard that that the CW canceled and ended Nikita after like how many episodes for its fourth and final somewhat season, I was like, well, every week Nikita gets her ass kicked. Well, Maggie Q, I've always liked her as an actress, and I thought she's a really kick-ass actress. And as soon as I heard that, and as soon as I saw promos for Stalker, before even, some days prior to the show's premiere on October 1st last year, I've always thought, well, she went from Nikita to this show. Wow. And then the same guy who was in that previously short-lived CBS drama, that was also the procedural police drama Hostages, actually more like a procedural terrorist drama. Dylan McDermott was previously in Hostages, and he was like, so he went from that show to this? This seems pretty interesting. And then you also have other actors, too, whose names pretty much escape to me at the moment. If I'm pronouncing them right, the actor and actress who plays the other two LAU operatives, Mariana Clovino and Victor his last name is hard for me to pronounce to me at the moment. Those guys, I have never seen them prior to the show, but I'll likely look their IMDb's and Wikipedia articles up later. Elizabeth Rome. Prior to Stalker, I have seen her in plenty of TV movies and whatnot. And, 2014, when it comes to some of the actors from the show. Elizabeth Rome, I had, prior to Stalker, I have seen her in about 2-3 different TV movies and whatnot. And whatever else following Stalker. I mean, before the show started. So, yeah. And also speaking of which, when I've seen that movie with Christian Bale, Amy Adams and such, and Bradley Cooper, American Hustle, which is, by the way, one of my favorite films, after watching that movie around Thanksgiving weekend, I couldn't even tell if that was, one of the actresses that had minor appearances in the film. I thought that movie, I thought when I saw, I swore Elizabeth Rome was in that film, and when really she actually is in the film, and it says it on her Wikipedia and IMDb pages that she was in American Hustle. Because, at times, every time I look at Elizabeth Rome, sometimes I see a vibe of former Xena warrior princess of herself, Lucy Lawless. Because to me, it's like Elizabeth Rome and Lucy Lawless pretty much does look alike. Maybe I'll probably say that when I do a upcoming celebrity rant video on her later on. I don't know. I pretty much do like half of the characters, except for, let's say, one, who I'll get to in a moment. I'll go over a couple of characters, because there's not really much information on the characters, but after watching and seeing how their characters would slowly develop, with, Beth Davis, who is Maggie Q's character, getting the most development right now, and whatnot, I'll go ahead and, actually the two main characters, Jack and Beth, getting the most development than the rest. I'll go over some of the characters for those that are probably not into the show right now, or would likely open to see the show. So I'll go with one character first. I'll start with Dylan McDermott's character, Jack Larson. His rank and position is the second detective, and his assignment is he is a member of Davis's threat assessment unit, and he's one of the main characters of the show, of course. And also, of course, Maggie Q's Beth Davis character, also known as Michelle Weber. She's the prime lieutenant, the leader of the threat assessment unit. Janice Lawrence is I can't tell if that's a Roman numeral for 2 or 3. I guess let's just say detective. I'm also a member of Davis's threat assessment unit, and so is Ben Caldwell, the first detective, a member of Davis's threat assessment unit. Amanda Taylor, Jack Larson's ex-wife. There's something I just didn't get about, for the first couple of episodes with Amanda's character, from the pilot to about episode 6, where I stopped until I had to convert episode recordings of the show from those past Wednesday nights last year and put them on DVD so I can rewatch it. Amanda's character, when it came to her past relationship with Jack, when I first saw Elizabeth Rome on the show, from the time when the show started and stuff, from every time she kept saying that, Jack shouldn't be seeing her or her son, and knowing that she doesn't want Jack to see his son anymore, and all of that, if he doesn't leave Los Angeles and whatever, I said to myself, I don't know where this story is going. Now, I see what was fully explained from their small conversations, even at the end of each episode of the first 6 episodes, every time. And, looking at, from when I first saw Amanda's character, Elizabeth Rome's character, she was pretty, my impression was like, meh. I don't get her character at times. She sounds like sort of borderline, what's that other word? What's that word I'm looking for to describe it? Borderline isolation. Well, if that even made any sense, but I'm just making that word up. And that she just doesn't want Jack. Let's just say she just didn't want Jack to see her or his son Ethan anymore. And I don't understand. I just didn't understand the subplot within the first couple of episodes until the mid-season finale, which is episode 11. And I didn't really... I just couldn't get into the character. I'll try to get into her as future episodes go on and whatnot. And it's just, the story... I like the premise of the show, which is good. But at times, the subplots can be a bit... kind of there at times, and that's one of my mixed feelings with the show. And Beth Davis and having another personality name, Michelle Weber. Shouldn't Michelle Weber be the name of another character, or more like a split twin of Beth? Instead of taking, how about you take the last name of Beth's last name that's already in her pen name, Davis, out, and just put Beth Weber there. I'm not trying to rewrite the show's history in its characters or anything, but that's just a suggestion. Instead of being Beth Davis, how about Beth Weber? I'm just saying. And or how about have Michelle Weber as a separate character, make her more like a long lost sister of Beth, with Maggie, or have someone similar to Maggie Q's complexion, if she's an actress, to play that Michelle Weber person, when really Beth Davis is Michelle Weber. If you've seen from, like, let's say, as explained from episodes 3 or 4, where she explains to someone on the phone that her name is actually Michelle Weber, but when she's with the TAU, I don't know why I say LAU, forgive me for that, she says that she's Michelle Weber on the phone. I mean, and then also Perry also in one episode finds out who Beth Davis really is, and also I even like the tension between Beth and Perry, even in the first episode and even onwards and whatnot. And I guess that's pretty much about it until future episodes. Jack Larson, he is, let's say he was just about average. He's that sort of guy that kind of does, well, knowing to start off as he's part of the show, I mean, from the start, he's a rookie. He's a rookie detective. He was just being recruited actually just came into the TIU building and started to be, wanted to do these investigations of, vicious stalkers and whatnot of the week. And just to get, just to solve the problems and the puzzles of who's the stalker behind this and that of the, pretty much how I would dub it as Stalker of the Week. Because most of the time, however, most of the stalkers on the show, especially with guest actors, a lot of the guest actors who play the stalkers of each episode, each and every single one of them were always male, and the victims in each episode were always female. Even here in real life, the stalkers, like if I was a stalker right now stalking a, let's say, 18-year-old girl, 19-year-old girl, and I was like, currently 22 years old, and I was stalking her because she rejected me because she thought I was some weirdo, creep-ass, whatever, troll. And I was, finding out her phone, wanted to know her phone number, where she lives and all that. Because that's like giving out her, trying to find out, look up her personal information when knowing that people, this is the thing when it comes to stalkers. They always have to, people who are stalkers that were rejected in a past relationship and whatnot, they have always, in reality, let me get my speech and story together here, paragraph. They've always want to barge in that person's life, let's say. And they want to terrorize the victim for rejecting them and also banishing, barring them from their lives because, let's say if it was a boyfriend, a boyfriend-girlfriend situation as always, husband and wife. Mostly the most popular common denominator, if I pronounced that word right, boyfriend and girlfriend. And if the girlfriend rejected the boyfriend because the girl can't be with him, or it's just something about the guy that she doesn't like in him, that's when he starts being impulsive and irrational, and he starts to excessively go after her after being rejected and saying, I'm done with you. I don't want to see you anymore. Goodbye. It's over. It was a one-night thing. I don't think I can go out with you anymore. Such. But when something goes wrong, and when the victim notices something is lurking behind her herself, well, mainly her most often, they have always get in some sort of trouble, and they've always, something goes wrong in the house. Somebody is breaking into their house at a moment's notice when the victim is not looking and noticing. But as soon as at least they're always alert, and they have an alert system in their houses. Well, sometimes in some episodes with those victims of the week, sometimes they don't have an alarm system installed to their house. If someone tries to break into their house, they you know, suppose in reality right now, if I was a stalker stalking some girl, young, any girl who's either attractive or no offense, ugly, and I was doing that, like what I'm saying on the show, I would get locked up, go to, have a psychiatric evaluation for breaking into our house or trying to kill that person or whatever, but in which I will not, because that's a sin. If that is a sin according to the Ten Commandments. So I don't really know what else I can say about that case, because see, I can watch more. I can like watch plenty of videos about stalkers and such on YouTube, and looking up information about stalkers anywhere else in the internet, and also hear someone talk about someone getting stalked by their like ex-best friend, ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, ex-wife, ex-husband, and that, it's just, I've never been in a relationship, okay? I'm just saying that just to get to the gist of what I'm talking about, based on what I've seen from from a TV show like this that just came out recently, 2 months ago, 2.5, and anything else outside of it. And I want to talk about, if I can go ahead for the next couple of minutes and recap the first 6-7 episodes, because I'm about to convert the next 5 episodes on my DVR right now, since the show won't return until January 19th, I suppose, with new episodes. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the synopsis on the pilot. I'll start with the episode synopsis and how it broke down for those that have not seen Stalker. I suggest go ahead and probably watch the full-length episodes on CBS's website for free, and then after, when you watch those following episodes, come back to this video, and also I'll give you the link to CBS's website for the show, cbs.com/stalker, I suppose. Because, TV shows on the respective network websites are always available to watch and free to stream. I'll try to go to CBS's website, and you can watch the show for free. And after when you guys do finish watching those following episodes I aforementioned, come back to this video, probably pause it right where I'm talking about it. And then once again, after watching those episodes, even if the show is 40-some minutes long, each episode of the show is 40 minutes long, you can always stop at one episode a day and then come back to listening to what I have to say about those episodes. And I'm not really good with critical analysis when it comes to talking about the logics of episodes and such, because I can talk about logics and stuff about what went on in children's shows, but when it comes to something more adult-like and grim and more mature, it's kind of hard for me to point out a couple of things. I guess that's how I go, in a way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about the first couple of episodes, even if I've not seen these episodes or not. In the pilot episode, the series premiere, Detective Jack Larson, relocating from New York City, arrives for his first day on the job working for Lieutenant Beth Davis, also known as Michelle Weber in a couple episodes as revealed, with the elite TAU team in Los Angeles, California. The team tackles 2 cases. One, a stalker who has an unusual affinity for setting his victims on fire, and 2, a college student who is charged with assault but later says he was defending himself from harassment by Perry, who turns out to be a recurring character later on throughout as the show goes on. A former roommate he had thrown out. Elsewhere, Jack himself spies on a mother and her child, which later revealed to be his ex-girlfriend, Deputy DA Amanda. I don't know why I said wife. I mean, Amanda as Jack's wife. That doesn't... Ugh. Excuse me. Amanda Taylor and her son Ethan Taylor. In episode 2, entitled Whatever Happened to Baby James, if you have seen it, Hannah is babysitting her 7-year-old brother Thomas and appears to be the victim of a stalker. Early evidence leads the team to a man named Barnes who is a registered sex offender. While Barnes has several photos of Hannah, it later becomes clear that he did nothing more. The TAU acts on further clues that lead them to a neighboring woman who lost a son who's about Thomas's age and complexion, meaning Thomas was the intended target instead of Hannah. Perry returns to confront Beth, who punched him in a parking lot in the previous episode. Janice invites Jack out for drinks to celebrate the caller in the Thomas case, but he politely refuses. Near the end of the episode, Amanda gives Jack a stern warning to leave Los Angeles within 2 weeks, otherwise she will reveal a damaging secret from his past. Let me pause right there. What damaging secret from his past? You know, I wish if there was a unreleased pilot episode that CBS and Warner Brothers Television, who was the studio backing the show and producing it likewise, if they were, if CBS would have, whoever created the show, as soon as you guys did the pilot, I wish you guys would I wish you guys could have made a unreleased pre-pilot to the show and also reveal, and also you guys could have at least had some footage or something to develop that you could have developed before the show's actual airing, and also revealing what happened between Jack and Amanda and why did Jack did what he did that wronged Amanda, and why she doesn't want Jack following her and Ethan to Los Angeles, and knowing that Jack is Ethan's somewhat now biological father, and Amanda doesn't want Jack to be near his biological son. I've seen these kind of stories before, but nothing like this. But again, I just wish I can't think of the names of the creators right now. The creator of the show, whose name pretty much escapes me at the moment. Keith Williamson or something, Kevin, whatever his name. And if you was to create a unreleased pilot episode prior to the show, or do a lost episode prior to the show's start, and if that lost pre-pilot episode was focusing on Jack and Amanda's relationship and how it all came awry and why it happened to now, I would love to see something like that as a full-on on-screen backstory, instead of being foreshadowed and being explained on screen in present tense portions of each episode. That's just my suggestion. In episode 3, Manhunt, Jack wonders aloud why Bev seems to hate him. Not my problem. Kara, a bride-to-be, is just about to tie the knot with her lesbian partner. Yes, there is a lesbian character in one episode, so I'm not going to go off the deep end and go all out talking about it. I mean, we're not talking Jerry Springer here. When she is shot by a sniper, lesbian partner? Oh. Kara's ex-husband, Paul, is immediately suspended, as he shows up at the ceremony 2 hours earlier and didn't take kindly to be dumped for a woman. The thing is, for guys that want to date girls or get married to a girl, if a girl is a lesbian and only likes girls, the girl who is a lesbian doesn't like guys. Okay, I'm going out of deep and out of context for what I said there. And I'm not sure that, when knowing that a woman who's a lesbian has affections for another woman as much as like a man who is gay has affections for another man. So this guy, Paul, has a problem with his ex-girl. I mean, it has a problem with the girl who's a lesbian and she doesn't want to be bothered with him, or she just doesn't. I mean, she wants to be with girls. She wants to be with girls. That's how lesbians go, and same for guys. If a guy doesn't wanting to be with a girl, he'll be with another guy to be in a homosexual relationship. No problem with it. It doesn't matter what sexual identity you are. Okay, well, maybe, okay, I guess this video seems to be a bit offensive to someone's sexual orientation. My bad. But things take a twist when the team finds that Kara's father, Jimmy, an LA cop, has enemies, including a special forces vet whom Jimmy fired for being unstable. At the end of the episode, Jack learns he only got the TAU job because his former captain in New York City... Okay, I'm sorry for adding another word to the description on the episode descriptions. New York was owed a favor by the LA captain, Trent, who is Beth's boss. Beth says there are over 300 applicants and Jack wasn't even in the top 20, but she acknowledges, and quotes, "You're lucky you don't suck." Amanda reminds Jack that the clock is ticking and his 2-week timeline to leave Los Angeles. Jack later spies on Amanda and Ethan again, also pretty much considered stalking, of course, and sees that Trent is Amanda's boyfriend. Well, that was a plot twist that caught me off guard a bit. Phobia, Episode 4. The TAU team tackles the case of a stalker who plays on the phobias of various women. Upon further investigation, Jack offers a theory that the suspect wants to terrorize his victims, which is a turn-on, rather than kill them. This leads them to dating sites that connects the victims, and a past rape case in which the suspect, Chris Powell, was able to escape conviction. The rape victim reveals she moved to a top floor of a high-rise building because Powell has a fear of heights. After he and Beth locate the suspect in an abandoned office building, Jack uses Powell's fear to get him to reveal the location of his current victim. Elsewhere, best friend Tracy talks about a much younger man, cougar alert, that she is hooking up with, who is later revealed to be Perry. The next time, if this happens in the future episode, if Beth and Perry see each other again, I don't know how that's going to go out. Even more, Perry gets Tracy to reveal some information about Beth, which he then uses to discover that Beth Davis did not exist until she enrolled in the police academy. Remember, Beth Davis is a surreal name of what Maggie Q's character is, when knowing Beth, the name of her character is actually Michelle. So she had to use the name Beth Davis because you knew, according to Beth/Michelle, whoever the hell you are, her identity, knowing that events prior to the show, Michelle, of course, was being stalked by someone once, and what caused her to change her name because she was being haunted by this somewhat stalker that was stalking her the whole time. That's why she joined the LAU for a reason. Just saying it for those that have never saw the show. But if you have seen it, good for you. I'm just saying it for those that have not watched the show, or find any interest. It is also revealed that Perry has drawn several gruesome sketches, comic book-like sketches, of Beth and himself from past episodes, including one in which he is choking her on a bed. I don't recall that. Maybe that should have been in some unreleased pilot episode or whatever. At the end of the episode, Jack holds up with Janice at his home, but not until he quickly tears his photos of Amanda and Ethan off the wall. The 5th episode, The Haunting, which was a Halloween-themed episode, a college sophomore is stalked in a costume shop by a clown that is suspected to be her obsessive ex-boyfriend. Ben finds evidence online that it was the ex-boyfriend's roommate acting on his behalf. The girl and her roommate rent a house that's supposedly haunted after a woman named Amy hung herself and pretty much committed suicide in the basement, and her husband, Greg, also committed suicide upon finding her. When the girl is stalked again at the house, haunted house, pretty much, her ex and his roommate have airtight alibis, if I pronounced it right, alibis. Jack finds evidence in the basement pointing the TAU team toward a professor of paranormal and occultic studies at the college. But the professor winds up dead when the girls throw a Halloween party at that house, the same house. Ben and Janice research the house's former owners and calls Jack to tell him that the legend is only half true. Amy committed suicide following words, but there is no record of Greg's death. Jack discovers a hidden room in the basement and is attacked by Greg. Greg is quickly shot and neutralized by Beth. Elsewhere, Perry learns that Beth's real name is Michelle Weber. Oh, wait a minute, that's been revealed in this episode. I don't know why I said the previous episode by mistake. He reads an article that says Michelle had lost her family, father, mother, sister, and family dog, in a house fire, and she was the only survivor. Wow. A masked Perry later follows Beth around at the Halloween party, and she discovers it's him. At home, Beth calls a psychiatric institution and confirms that a certain patient number 5679 is still confined there, and asks if he had any visitors. And this is the last time between Amanda and Jack, and even in this episode, a final warning for Jack to leave fucking Los Angeles. And their heated conversation is witnessed by Janice. Okay, now this episode, Love is a Battlefield, the name of a, I think, Pat Benatar song. I'm not going to sing the song or play the song in the background for you guys to remind you. The name of that 80s rock song, Love is a Battlefield. I would be surprised if I told you who's in this episode. Someone familiar that we've seen previously from a previous show. I'm not going to tell you for those that didn't. I'm going to stop to when it says to Kenneth and his new girlfriend Melissa sentence. In Love is a Battlefield, also the name of that 80s rock song. Pretty much. The home of Andrea Brown is invaded during a dinner party. Yes, even there. I did take some when I paused the episode clip on one of my video editors. That I had to take a snapshot of the episode with the glow-in-the-dark graffiti on the wall with some tags that says where someone called Andrea a thief, pig, and even a greedy bitch. I was like, whoa. Now I can use that as a meme to post on Facebook when I see some post on Facebook and I'm not gonna call no one a bitch nonetheless, regardless. But I'm just gonna do it just for humorous fun, or just don't do it at all. Though the culprit disappears before being seen, the home has been vandalized with graffiti about greed and evil, and knowing, and as much to Kenneth's dismay, he says that his ex-wife Andrea is a demented somewhat bitch. And what she is, and she's greedy, she's vile, she is menacing, and not only that, from what I heard, I think in one portion of the episode, if I was freaking paying attention to what was happening and what was explained about her mental condition and not Kenneth's, that Andrea has borderline personality disorder. Pretty much more like a twist of Fatal Attraction with some other sort of movie with that plot with a crazed, obsessed woman, and the man is the victim this time. Excuse me. Andrea, the chair of an arts foundation, has a restraining order against her ex-husband, Kenneth. Detective Janice Lawrence is her case manager. They confront Kenneth in his new home with his ex-girlfriend, Melissa, and about Melissa's actress in this episode. Believe it or not, okay, you guys already know who Katie Lutz was, or is. She was Sarah Lance, the first Black Canary on Arrow. Okay, and as soon as when I heard that Katie Lutz was going to be in this episode, I said to myself, so she went from getting excommunicated by those arrows that pierced her in the stomach in the Calm episode of the season premiere of season 3 of Arrow, and all the way to this, but for a one-time episode. And I said to myself, that's like, that's awkward. I didn't see this coming. I mean, I mean, so this was her send off from Arrow season 3 for the season premiere, and following Sarah's death, and then she comes to this, and then probably in future TV movie appearances. Wow. So her contract on Arrow has already been up. The two insist is it they who are being harassed by Andrea. Next, Andrea returns to her home on the next night and opens a package addressed to her. It contains the dead body of her dog with a passage from the Bible about greed. I need to read the Bible more. Because of the Bible passage, the TAU's team considers Melissa a suspect due to her father being a pastor. Andrea is then brutally attacked in a parking garage. Pretty much either her ex-husband or Melissa, either one, if I was paying attention. Later at a charity event, Jack notes the font on some posters is the same as that used in the graffiti. The team then considers the artist a suspect. The artist has been sleeping with Andrea and says Andrea paid him to attack her. After the interview, Andrea's story begins to unravel. Meanwhile, Ethan bumps into Jack while Jack is watching him leave for school. Amanda confronts Jack in a personal conversation, and yeah, the scene where she bitch slaps Jack and Jack tries to restrain her from hitting him again was kind of, that was kind of sort of a last shout moment. Yeah. I can see if Jack and Amanda were husband and wife at this point. Amanda also she mentions an incident in New York from prior to the show, and over and over and over for the now 6 episodes, in which Jack slept with a witness, which she will report to Beth. Jack says if Amanda does reveal his that incident, Amanda will of course be exposed for wrongdoing because she knew about the incident and did nothing. Jack tries to preempt any action by coming clean with Beth, who simply tells Jack to fix it. He later meets Amanda and pleads for a second chance to stay in LA while promising to stay away from Ethan. I think I prefer Love is a Battlefield, the height of the show's start, and one of the best episodes of season 1 right now. And the second best episode is pretty much one of my personal favorites, Fanatic, where a fictional actress played by a real-life actress, Annalyn McCord, actress Nina Preston who is a popular star of a television show called Savage Shore, which is more like Beauty and the Beast, more like a paranormal Beauty and the Beast, and sort of like reality television in a way, more like. And also the title is pretty much a pun to that overrated mess of a reality show that used to be on MTV, Jersey Shore, that aired around in the early 2010s and shit. Personally, I hate that. I'm so glad they stopped showing that fucking show. While Nina is home, her home has been invaded. Music plays, candle burns, a dinner has been prepared, and flower petals are spread on the bed. But she does not get a good look at the invader. She has had 4 stalkers in the past 3 years as her time as an actress. This is the thing. This is why. If I go out to in California, take a plane to California, if I want to get an acting job. If I want to be a big time or not so much sort of movie star, TV star, since nobody's probably not going to like me at that point, and if I had a fan base growing or no fan base at all, if I only had one fan, even if that fan of mine was a mentally demented, twisted, not so right in the head type fan, I wouldn't even want to be a celebrity anymore or a celebrity at all. After I deal with the Stalker case, I would leave Hollywood and go back to my normal life right fucking here in this dump. No offense. The team first investigates Heather Miller, a delusional, potentially violent stalker who had been arrested in the past. But she does not appear to fit the profile of the crime scene. They also investigate paparazzo Edward Gaines, who has a knack for knowing exactly where Nina will be. You know, the paparazzi, as far as known since Hollywood's inception, they are so fucking nosy. Photographers in Hollywood who wants to take pictures of where this celebrity is or where that celebrity is, you know, celebrities don't like being harassed. Celebrities don't like being around paparazzi people who take pictures of every single celebrity. Celebrities have personal lives like us normal people with normal lives and jobs do, okay? Well, that's life being in Hollywood for you. I wouldn't go there because, you know, nobody, I don't even care if I want to be famous or not, but seriously, I really don't. And I think this episode best fits my description personally. Gaines reveals he has an inside informant, which turns out to be Nina's sister and assistant Emily. When Nina learns of this betrayal, she and Emily have a bad fight, and Nina throws her out of the house. Outside of the house, Emily is attacked in a manner reminiscent of a scene from Savage Shore. The team finds out the attacker is Robbie, who has a delusional disorder, but has stopped taking his antipsychotic medication pills. Robbie's domineering and overprotective mother, mama's boy, Nancy, is revealed to have acted on her son's behalf. Hey, who's even more crazier, the son or the mother? I say both. Meanwhile, Tracy's boyfriend Brody steals Beth's personal information while Tracy is taking a shower, of course, while Perry uses somewhat, while also taking that nickname Brody, using Tracy's phone to look up Beth's information. He later breaks into Beth's home and makes while Beth is not present, of course, and makes himself comfortable while she is not around. Beth receives a letter with a copy of the article on the fire, and she thinks it is from Ray, patient, again, number 5679. But the institution says there is no way the patient could have sent it. I pretty much stopped around this episode because, well, the holiday season was among me, and I couldn't even watch further episodes. So following this podcast, I am going to watch the rest of the episodes of Stalker, episodes 8 to 11, until the show will return with new episodes, starting with episode 12, Secret and Lies, around January 14th. And also, it is also likely that the show has been bumped for a full season with new episodes around October 22nd. Let me go back up to the Wikipedia article because this is where I was reading all the information to you from, because I'm not really good for fully, analyzing episodes or bringing some stuff up. And it was also confirmed back on October 27th, 2014, that CBS had placed a full season episode order for Stalker's first season. If ratings improve, Stalker would likely get a second season for the next TV season, for the 2015-2016 season. So, what do you guys think of my video podcast and episode review, in my TV review on Stalker? Personally, to be honest, after spending 53 minutes discussing the show for a while, I have to say this is one of the best shows, without a doubt, one of my top favorite shows right now for this current TV season. Though we had a couple of TV shows in 2014 along the way that weren't so great, but at least they tried their best to stay on TV, even if it didn't have a viewership following and whatnot. But Stalker, although despite getting mostly panned reviews from TV critics around the world, a lot of us home viewer audiences enjoyed the show. And I enjoyed the show as well, even from the start. Because I knew then and there this show was a new breath of interest into shows that is so realistic and more like something invoked to reality that I need to start watching. because I've always been fond of stalker cases myself, even though even though I have stalked 2 female individuals again in the past, but I'm not going to talk about that anymore or bitch about it like a raging butthurt like a raging butthurt 20-something-year-old guy like I pretty much am. But I just think this is one of the best shows I have ever watched right now. Yeah, sure, Criminal Minds can have those kind of episodes, and even though I said that Stalker was like a Criminal Minds knockoff, but it's all about stalkers every episode. But this is something I needed to watch that I thought would find something convincing about it, and just I can go ahead and talk about what went on in the episodes if I can memorize a couple of things. Aside from the episode descriptions I just read from Wikipedia and the episode listings elsewhere, but I mean, I can try, but whatever. So anyway, thanks for watching my video podcast / TV series, my TV series review on Stalker. I hope you guys will hear from me talking about the further episode, and that as soon as when the season ends with like an episode 21, 22, since each episode of a TV show always has about for the first season about 20 some episodes. I would go ahead and do a later recap on episodes 11 to onwards afterwards, as soon as I finish watching episodes 8 to 11, and then I'll give you my brief thoughts on it probably later on, or when season 1 is completed by May sweeps. So be sure to subscribe, comment, press a like, and see if you liked this video or not. And what do you got? And also this is a segment I would like to call Final Call, starting with this video. What do you guys thought of the show? Do you thought the show was good? Did you thought the show was boring? Did you thought the show was just meh? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I'm off for now. So this is Anthony Mars Jr. on PR Lost Galaxy 2014, logging off, shutting down Terra Venture for today and tonight. Thanks for watching, and my discussion here on Terra Venture's conference hall here on the Terra Venture podcast show is now over. Thank you and good night.